So how can you join this movement? Here's what we could do together. There are four sections of what we could do, what you could do, what we could all do together to continue this movement, to continue this program further. The four sections are four categories are help us improve this message. The message that you're going through is not a perfect message. It's been developed by humans, of course, and we are making assumptions that a lot of things would be understood by the other person. You are the other person. So if something is not getting across clearly or succinctly, please bring it to our attention. Please help us improve the message. That's the first part. Second part is once you are fully on board, once you agree that the message is well presented, help us spread the word. Help us take this message on the road to everybody else that you know. And then help us run the program. Step up, come on board yourself, bring other people with you to help us run all the different modules. And what the modules are, we'll explain them as the program develops. But there's a lot of work to be done. A lot and lot of work is ahead of us. Help us all do it. Let's pull our resources together and do it together. And then finally, help us with enforcement of the program. Of course, no plan, no pledges, no new initiatives will be completed without having some kind of a governance model. So here again, we're seeking your help and your assistance in making sure that we are able to run these programs well. So what do these four categories entail? Let's go ahead and see what they are. So for the first part, first bracket to help improve the message, we'll go through the material, read it carefully, watch all the videos, all the support material that we're providing the links for. Please go ahead and take some moment, take some time, and review the material as well, and watch with a very critical eye. You're not trying to find flaws and problems, but you're trying to identify is the message clear enough? Is there like any feedback based on clarity, based on the presentation itself, any incorrect statements that we are making? Please bring it to our attention. Give us a chance. It's not a perfect presentation. Nobody's perfect, but help us improve it. Help us make it perfect and then find areas for improvement. Maybe there are assumptions that we have made which are not clear enough to everyone. Let us know what they are. Maybe there is an area that we just glossed over very briefly, and you think it's important enough for us to emphasize that and put a lot more time on it, explaining it. By all means, bring it to our attention, and so we can improve that particular part of the presentation. Or even better, step up. Tell us how you would make it better. So again, give us any kind of a feedback you're able to provide. We are really eagerly looking forward to that. And then the last bullet point here is really important. Internalize the message. Have faith. Have faith in Allah, have faith in yourself, have faith in the system, have faith in everyone around you. Start believing that what we are dreaming, what we are proposing, what we are thinking about is actually possible. Anything is possible. Start believing in that. Because without that, we cannot go to the next part, which is spreading the message around, which is forwarding the message to anybody else who can support these modules. How can you bring somebody else on board if you yourself are not 100% committed that, yes, that's what we should do, that's what we shall do, and that you have faith in the program itself? So definitely have faith yourself, and only then you'd be able to solicit others and bring them on board. And yeah, recruit. Recruiting maybe may not be the perfect word because of certain negative connotations we have got attached with certain words. But we are trying to recruit people, recruit the best of us, the best people who can join the movement, who can join the program, who can spread the word, who can become the ambassadors, who can who can become the cheerleaders, who can go and excite everyone and say, here's a set of possibilities, here's a set of maybe dream, maybe some moonshots, maybe some impossible goals, but whether they or not they'll actually materialize that's what Allah has to do and Allah has to decide. For us, let's just join our hands together, put in our resources, and at least take a few steps, a few concrete steps. So again, we need your help in doing that. Help us run the programs. All the modules that we have identified, what's the module? So healthcare is a module, education is a module, agricultural reform, social reform, criminal reform, eradicating bureaucracy is a module. How do we deal with corruption is a module. Irrigation system is a module. All of these things these are specific areas where we need attention. So we've got a lot of recommendations, best practices, things that we could do, things we could do starting tomorrow. Uh, so some low-hanging fruits, and some of them are long projects, and a lot of resources have to be made available before we could even take the first step in those directions. But again, we have provided a lot of insight into these hours and hours of the presentation we're making available here. Watch it all, understand it all, and once you've seen it, come on board, help us run the programs, help be a volunteer in some of the modules that we are presenting here, and bring in the other experts, people that you know, you're a friend of a friend. You've heard of someone who is a specialist in financial planning and setting up the monetary policy for a country. Bring them on board. We'll make them an advisor. We'll make them a consultant, or we'll give them a certain part of our program. And say, help us design the best practices of the right methodology. That's what we're trying to do. Bring in the experts, and those experts will drive the movement, will create the direction, and will take us eventually to the target that we are going towards. And then finally, as we said earlier, you cannot have a program where there are a lot of pledges have happened, people have joined hand, people are giving parts of their lives, their whatever commitments they are making to be a part of it. Others have to play their role as well, which means the enforcement of these programs that we come up with, that becomes equally important, critically important for that to happen as well. So be a part of this. So be an eye and ear of the program as you go about in your daily life. You are eating at a restaurant, you're going walking on the street, you're in a shopping center, you are at work, you are at school, wherever you are. Make sure that others are not just educated about the program, but they're following the basic tenets of it. And if they're not, touch them on the shoulder, prod them, and tell them that, have a discussion with them. Throughout the presentation, we'll have a lot of discussions about how we could do that. Obviously, we don't want you to take on public fights or arguments or something like that. But there are ways for us to very subtly do a conflict resolution, get somebody on board, trying to empathize with someone, trying to get them to empathize with our point of view as well. So we've got some pointers, some advice here. Please go ahead and look at those videos as well. But we really want you to be a part of the solution. We want you to make everybody else also a part of the solution. Okay, so here's a warning. Before we even get started, we must understand that it's going to be a bumpy ride. It's not going to be an easy ride. Rebuilding a country is not going to be easy. Rebuilding a small sports team is challenging in itself. This is at a massive, massive level. So it's going to be a very bumpy ride. But then again, nothing you would ever do would be as fulfilling or as rewarding. This is an absolute guarantee. So with that, let's go ahead and take the next journey. Let's continue with the next slide. We're so glad to have you on board. Thanks again.